Hello, friends. I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's all great and fantastic. How was your weekend? I hope that was good too. Mine was good. I had my kids. And I was really hoping to fire this up and have my Kindle in my hand and tell you that I finished the first book of The Wheel of Time, but I didn't. As of right now, I think I'm sitting at 87% according to my Kindle. And which means I probably will finish it tonight. But I wanted to get this video done and before I go lay down and try to finish it. So I will talk about The Eye of the World tomorrow. And I wanted to tell you just because, like, it's been a while since I've read a book in 5 days and then told you about it. And people always wonder how I read books in 5 days. Well, the reality is I didn't do much this weekend but read the book. Like, Sunday, I probably spent at least 6 hours of the day reading. That's how you read a book in 5 days. You just do nothing else. Maybe even more like 8 hours. I didn't do a whole lot on Sunday. My kids came. We had them Friday night. Do we have a game Friday night? The soccer schedule has me so freaking confused. I think we had a soccer game. We did. We had a soccer game on Friday night. So after that, came here, kind of chilled for a little bit with them, and then went to bed. And then Saturday I woke up and read, and then my youngest had an event to go to on a Saturday. My oldest was supposed to have a friend over, so I kind of stayed out of the way and read for a little bit, did some chores, kind of didn't do a whole lot that day but read, and I guess maybe I read a whole lot on Saturday. And then Sunday, my oldest had a friend over and my youngest had a place to go, so we did all of that, and I wasn't feeling great. My back was hurting, so I just read. So I probably put, like, when all is said and done, I will probably have something like 15 to 18 hours in reading The Wheel of Time. And the way that I read it so quick is because I just do it. Like, I just get into it. And I think that when I'm reading a book like that, when I find a book that I'm willing to read that way, I want to read it that way. I want to just plow through it. Oftentimes, I find books that, while I really enjoy them, I'll give you an example. Somebody suggested that I read. Damn. It just, like, I was about to say it, and then it flew out of my head. I'll come back to it. Somebody suggested I read a book, and they were really excited about it, and I went and read a few reviews, and everybody was like, yeah, this book is amazing. And so I checked it out, and I read it, and I enjoyed the book. And I'm pretty positive I reviewed it here on the channel. It was an enjoyable read, but I wasn't engrossed in it. It wasn't something I could sit down and read for 8 hours. It was something I could sit down and read for 40 minutes and then kind of put it away for a little while and then come back to it later. And in the end, I think my final review of it was that I enjoyed the book and I thought it was a very well written book, but it wasn't. The pacing of the book, the language of the book pulled me out of it quite a few times, and it became kind of more of a chore to read than an enjoyable read. And I think that when I find books like that, it takes it's something I have to kind of just casually make my way through. When I read something like The Wheel of Time or like Brandon Sanderson, it's for one, the language is not a barrier to entry, so you don't have to learn a whole bunch of new words. I mean, Robert Jordan wrote with fairly flowery wording in prose, but it doesn't, he kind of introduces a word and then uses that word a lot. And so as long as I've had to look up a couple of words just to make sure I understood what he was saying, and then it goes pretty quick. And when I can get into something like that, I can just sit and read it for hours and just be totally engrossed in it, and I really enjoy that. The sad part is doesn't happen very often. Most books I kind of have to push through. I have to keep going. I have to choose to read them as opposed to being engrossed in them. And, you know, I don't know. I guess that's what it is. I mean, I read last year, I read The Stand, the big version, the 1,100 page version in 10 days. That's a pretty rapid pace for anybody to read a book like that. But that book grabbed me, and I spent every waking hour that I wasn't working reading that book, and that's how I read it in 10 days. So I'm just curious, like, do you read, first of all, do you like to read books? Do you read books often? And when you find a book that you get into, does it consume you? Do you get absorbed into it? Or is reading more of a casual hobby to you, and you just like to take the slower pace? I think part of the difference, part of the reason that I'm reading this book, maybe not faster than normal, but, one of the factors is that I have read this book before. I've read this book a few times, and I'm going to talk about that in my review, because I think that the familiarity with it allows me to forgive some of it. We'll talk about that tomorrow, but yeah, that's what I did this weekend. Curious to know what you did. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is impecunious. It is an adjective meaning to be poor or broke, to have little or no money. Alex has been raving about his impecunious state ever since his trust fund was cut from $25,000 to $20,000 per month. Impecunious. IMPECUNIOUS. I get it that there's a lot of satire in this book, but damn. To be poor or broke, to have little or no money, I have been that for most of my adult life. I have been impecunious, but I'm okay now. We haven't talked about it in a while, and maybe we should. I'm okay.